The message came through deep space communications at 3:47 a.m. Earth Standard Time. It wasn't in any human language, but the universal mathematics embedded within made its meaning clear. Help us. We are dying. Captain James stood on the bridge of the United Earth Defense Station, watching the decoded message flash across multiple screens. The signal originated from the Vega system, 25 light-years away. According to their databases, that region belonged to the Krell Empire, a civilization that had refused all contact with humanity for the past 50 years. The message is repeating on all frequencies, Lieutenant Smith reported from her station. Her fingers moved across the holographic interface, pulling up wave patterns and energy signatures. Whatever's happening out there, they're desperate enough to break their isolation. The Krell had always considered humans too violent, too unpredictable. They'd made their position clear during first contact. Earth's history of warfare made them unsuitable for galactic relations. Now, these same beings who had rejected humanity were begging for help. Admiral Roberts appeared on the main communication screen from Earth Command. His weathered face showed years of military service, and his gray eyes held a weight of decision. Captain, I assume you've analyzed the transmission? Yes, Admiral. The Krell homeworld is under attack by an unknown force. Their defensive fleets have fallen. They estimate total extinction within 72 hours. The bridge fell silent. Everyone knew what this meant. The Krell were one of the most advanced civilizations in the known galaxy. If something could destroy them, it posed a threat to everyone. Sir, Commander Johnson spoke up from the tactical station. We could send the standard relief fleet. Medical ships, evacuation transports. No, Admiral Roberts interrupted. His expression hardened. If something can tear through Krell defenses, our regular ships won't stand a chance. We're sending the Prometheus. Gasps echoed across the bridge. The Prometheus was humanity's most closely guarded secret, a ship built not for exploration or diplomacy, but for the complete annihilation of threats. It represented everything the galactic community feared about humans, their capacity for destruction refined into a single, terrible weapon. Admiral, if we reveal the Prometheus, the Galactic Council will... The Council can deal with it later, Captain. Ready the ship. You'll be commanding her. James felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. The Prometheus had never been deployed in actual combat. Its weapons were theoretical nightmares made real. Gravitational hammers that could crack moons. Antimatter cannons that could sterilize entire planetary surfaces. And worse things hidden in its classified holds. Within hours, a massive ship powered up in its hidden dock behind Luna. At 5 kilometers long, it dwarfed any other human vessel. Its black hull absorbed light, making it appear as a void against the stars. The crew of 500 represented humanity's finest, soldiers, scientists, and engineers who had trained for years on a ship they hoped would never be used. As Captain James walked through the ship's corridors, he passed weapons stations that hummed with barely contained energy. The crew members he met showed a mix of excitement and fear. They were about to make history, one way or another. All stations report ready, Captain, Smith announced as James entered the Prometheus bridge. The command center was a masterpiece of human engineering. Walls lined with tactical displays, weapon systems, and defensive matrices that could process thousands of variables per second. Navigation. Set course for Vega system. Maximum burn. Sir, at maximum burn will arrive in 18 hours. 18 hours to travel 25 light years. Another secret humanity had kept hidden. Their breakthrough in faster-than-light travel it surpassed anything the galaxy knew existed. As the Prometheus departed Earth system, its engines tearing holes in space-time itself. Captain James stood before the main viewport. Somewhere out there, an ancient civilization was dying. They had judged humanity as too dangerous, too violent for contact. Today, they would learn they were absolutely right, and that sometimes, that's exactly what the galaxy needed. Asterisk. The Prometheus dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Vega system, its sensors immediately assaulted by the chaos before them. Where once 3 pristine worlds had orbited a bright star, now only debris fields and burning atmosphere remained. "Dear God," Lieutenant Smith whispered, her hands frozen over her console. Through the main viewport, they could see the Krell homeworld, or what was left of it. The planet's surface glowed with fires visible from space, entire continents burning. Fragments of destroyed ships floated everywhere, some still sparking with dying energy. "Scanning for survivors," Commander Johnson reported, his voice professional despite the horror. "I'm reading ... Wait. Sir, I'm detecting massive energy signatures moving through the debris field." On the tactical display, red dots appeared, dozens of them. The attacking ships were unlike anything in their databases. Organic-looking vessels that seemed to pulse with life, each one the size of a city. They moved through space without visible propulsion, feeding on the wreckage of the Krell fleet. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission," Smith announced. "It's weak, but it's the Krell." The main screen flickered to life, showing a Krell commander. The alien's blue-scaled face was scarred, one of its 4 eyes damaged. Behind it, emergency lights flashed in what appeared to be a damaged bunker. "Human vessel," the Krell spoke, its translated voice carrying desperation. "You came. We ... We were wrong about your kind. These creatures, they call themselves the Devourers. They consume everything, technology, organic matter, even energy itself. Our weapons only make them stronger." Captain James stepped forward. "Commander, how many of your people survive?" "Perhaps 10 million, hidden in underground shelters. But the Devourers are breaking through. We have maybe hours." The Krell's remaining eyes showed an emotion James recognized, hope mixed with fear. "Your ship. It's different from your other vessels. Bigger, darker. What is it?" "It's humanity's answer to nightmares," James replied simply. "Commander, I need you to transmit all data about these Devourers. Everything you've learned." As the data streamed in, the bridge crew analyzed the enemy. The Devourers were a hive-mind species that traveled between galaxies, consuming entire civilizations to fuel their expansion. They adapted to any weapon used against them, incorporating the technology into their own biology. "Sir," Johnson looked up from his tactical analysis, "conventional weapons won't work. They'll just absorb the energy." James nodded slowly. "Then we don't use conventional weapons. Prepare the Void Cannon." The bridge went quiet. The Void Cannon was theoretical, even by human standards. A weapon that didn't destroy matter, but erased it from existence entirely, creating pockets of absolute nothing that reality itself recoiled from. "Captain, we've never tested it against living targets," the weapons officer, Lieutenant Brown, warned. The ethical implications of letting 10 million souls die are worse." James cut him off. "Target the nearest Devourer ship. Fire when ready." The Prometheus oriented itself toward the closest bioship. Deep within its hull, energies that shouldn't exist in normal space began to build. The ship's lights dimmed as power diverted to the weapon. Firing. A beam of pure nothingness lanced out from the Prometheus. It wasn't black or white or any color. It was simply an absence. Where it touched the Devourer ship, matter ceased to exist. No explosion, no debris. One moment the bioship was there, the next it simply wasn't. The effect on the Devourer fleet was immediate. The hive mind recoiled, their ships pulling back from the planet. For the first time in their recorded history, they had encountered something they couldn't absorb or adapt to. "They're regrouping," Johnson reported. "All Devourer ships are converging on our position." James smiled grimly. Good. They're leaving the planet. Smith, open a channel to the Krell. Tell them to evacuate the remaining population to the shelter's deepest levels. This is about to get messy. Through the viewport, they watched as dozens of bioships surrounded the Prometheus. Each one was learning, adapting, trying to understand what they faced. They sent probe attacks, energy beams, biological projectiles. Even attempts at boarding the Prometheus's point defense systems. Designed by humans who had spent their entire history perfecting the art of war, responded with calculated precision. Plasma nets, gravity mines, and directed antimatter bursts created a sphere of destruction around the ship. But James knew this was just the beginning. The Devourers were testing them, learning their capabilities. Soon, they would adapt and attack in earnest. All weapons stations prepare for full engagement. It's time to show them why the galaxy fears humanity. The Devourers attacked in perfect synchronization, 43 bioships moving as one organism. They had learned from their losses, adapting their approach. Instead of energy weapons, they launched clouds of microscopic organisms, each one capable of eating through hull plating and converting matter to more of themselves. Nanoswarm incoming, Lieutenant Brown announced, his fingers flying across the weapons console. Standard shields won't stop them. Captain James didn't hesitate. Deploy the Scorched Earth Protocol. The Prometheus's hull suddenly blazed with white-hot fire. Every inch of the ship's exterior became a furnace, temperatures reaching those found in star cores. The approaching nanoswarms incinerated instantly, not even ash remaining. But this was just the beginning of humanity's response. Sir, they're adapting again, Smith reported. The bioships are generating heat-resistant shells. Of course they are, James muttered. He turned to his tactical officer. Johnson, remember the Battle of Thermopylae? A grim smile crossed Johnson's face. Funnel them into a choke point. The Prometheus began to move, its engines pushing it toward a dense debris field from the destroyed Krell fleet. The Devourers followed, confident in their numerical superiority. They didn't understand human military history, didn't know that humans had spent thousands of years perfecting the art of fighting, outnumbered as the bioships entered the debris field. The Prometheus activated its secret weapon, not a gun or missile, but a sophisticated AI warfare system named Ares. Within seconds, ARES had calculated 17 million possible attack vectors, analyzed Devourer movement patterns, and begun its assault. Hidden among the wreckage, the Prometheus had deployed mines, not ordinary explosives, but gravity weapons that created miniature black holes. As the Devourers passed, space itself twisted. 3 bioships were instantly crushed into points smaller than atoms. Others found themselves pulled apart by competing gravitational fields. They're trying to retreat, Johnson observed. No retreat, James ordered coldly. Activate the hunter-killer drones. From the Prometheus's belly, 1,000 small drones launched. Each one was equipped with a simple AI and a single purpose: destroy. They swarmed the Devourer ships like angry wasps, too small to be effectively targeted, too numerous to stop. They drilled into bioship hulls and detonated their antimatter cores. The Krell commander watched from the planet's surface, his transmission still connected. This is impossible. You're winning against them. We're not winning, James corrected. We're teaching. Every civilization they faced fought with honor, with rules. Humans learned long ago that survival has no rules. The Devourers tried to adapt again. They merged several ships into one massive entity, a bioconstruct the size of a small moon. It pulsed with stolen energy from 1,000 consumed civilizations. Captain, that thing's power readings are off the scale, Brown warned. James studied the massive creature. Then he smiled, a cold expression that would have terrified any who saw it. Perfect. They've made themselves a single target. Deploy the Omega warhead. The bridge went silent. The Omega warhead was humanity's ultimate weapon, so dangerous that its very existence was debated. It didn't just destroy. It unraveled the fundamental forces holding matter together. A single missile launched from the Prometheus, small and unassuming. The merged Devourer ship tried to intercept it, sending waves of defensive organisms. They all failed. The missile wasn't following any predictable path. It was making random quantum jumps, existing in multiple places simultaneously, until it chose where to strike. When it hit, reality screamed. The explosion started small, a pinpoint of impossible light. Then it expanded, not as fire or force, but as a wave of dissolution. The massive Devourer construct didn't explode. It simply ceased. Atoms lost cohesion, molecules forgot how to bond, and matter returned to the quantum foam from which it had emerged billions of years ago. The remaining Devourer ships froze. For the first time in their species' memory, they felt something their hive mind had never experienced: fear. "They're retreating," Smith announced, disbelief in her voice. "All remaining bioships are leaving the system." But James wasn't satisfied with retreat. Send them a message. Use their own biological frequency. He stood before the communication array and spoke clearly. "This is humanity. You came to consume. You found something that consumes back. We are the species that split the atom to end wars. We are the ones who weaponized black holes out of curiosity. Follow us, and we will show you extinctions your hive mind cannot imagine. This galaxy is under our protection now." The Devourers fled faster, leaving the Vega system entirely. They would spread word through their hive mind, avoid the galaxy where the monsters dwelt. Asterisk, the rescue operations took 3 days. The Prometheus deployed its humanitarian modules, a stark contrast to the weapons that had just saved the system. Medical bays that could hold thousands, matter replicators producing food and supplies, and construction drones already beginning to clear debris fields. Captain James stood in the Krell emergency shelter, surrounded by survivors. The aliens looked at him with expressions he couldn't quite read, gratitude mixed with something else. Fear, perhaps, or awe. The Krell commander approached, moving slowly on legs still weak from injury. "Captain James, I must ask, how long has humanity possessed such weapons?" "Since before we made first contact," James replied honestly. "We knew the galaxy saw us as violent, primitive. So we hid our true capabilities. But why?" "You could have conquered." "Because conquest is easy," James interrupted. "We've done it to ourselves countless times. Building peace, maintaining it, that's the real challenge. We chose to be better than our history." The commander's 4 eyes blinked in sequence, a sign of deep thought. "We misjudged your species. We saw your wars, your conflicts, and labeled you dangerous." "We are dangerous," James admitted. "But danger and evil aren't the same thing. A sword can kill or protect, depending on who wields it." On the Prometheus's bridge, Lieutenant Smith was managing incoming communications. The entire galactic community was in uproar. News of humanity's hidden doomsday ship had spread across every civilized world. "Captain, we have incoming messages from the Galactic Council," she reported when James returned. "They're demanding an explanation. Some are calling for sanctions against Earth." James took his command chair. "Put them through." The main screen filled with representatives from dozen species, the crystalline Zorax, the gaseous nebula beings, the ancient machine intelligence called Prime. All looked disturbed. "Captain James," the Zorax representative began, its crystal form pulsing with agitation, "humanity has deceived the galactic community. You possess weapons that violate 17 treaties. Treaties humanity was never allowed to sign, James pointed out. You excluded us from the Galactic Council, remember? Called us too violent for membership. These weapons prove we were right. The nebula being swirled angrily. Do they? James asked. We've had these weapons for 50 years. In that time, how many worlds has humanity conquered? How many species have we destroyed? Silence answered him. 0, James continued. Meanwhile, the Krell would be extinct if we hadn't acted. How many other civilizations have fallen to the Devourers while the Council debated and discussed? How many could have been saved if someone had been willing to act? Prime, the machine intelligence, spoke with its synthesized voice. You present a logical argument. However, the existence of such weapons remains troubling. What assurance do we have that humanity won't use them for conquest? James stood, his image broadcasting to 100 worlds. You have our history. Yes, we've warred among ourselves. But every time, we've learned. We've grown. We created nuclear weapons, and then created treaties to limit them. We developed biological weapons, and then banned them. We are the only species that consistently creates rules to limit our own power. Moreover, he continued, we answered the Krell's call for help, despite their rejection of us. We risked revealing our greatest secret to save a species that wanted nothing to do with us. Judge us by our actions, not your fears. A council members exchanged communications among themselves. Finally, the Zorax spoke again. The Prometheus must be placed under council supervision. No, James said flatly. The Prometheus remains under human control. But here's what we're willing to offer, a mutual defense pact. Any council member threatened by extinction-level threats can call on humanity. We'll answer, just as we did today. And if we refuse? James shrugged. Then we'll continue as we have, protecting ourselves, helping where we can. But remember, the Devourers are still out there. They'll return eventually, hungrier and more adapted. When they do, you'll need the monsters you fear to fight the monsters you should fear. The debate continued for hours, but James knew the outcome. The galaxy had seen what humanity could do. More importantly, they'd seen what humanity chose to do with that power. The Krell commander appeared beside him during a break. Captain, my people had decided. We petitioned for an alliance with Earth. James smiled. After 50 years of isolation, we isolated ourselves from what we thought you were. Now we know what you truly are, the guardians the galaxy needs, but doesn't deserve. 6 months had passed since the Battle of Vega. The galaxy had changed in ways no one could have predicted. Captain James stood before the newly constructed Galactic Defense Council, a joint initiative between humanity and 37 other species. The Prometheus floated visibly outside the station's massive windows, no longer hidden, but serving as both protector and reminder. The early warning network is now operational, James reported to the assembled representatives. We have sensor buoys in 12 galaxies. If the Devourers return, we'll know months in advance. The Krell commander, now bearing the title of Admiral in the Joint Fleet, added his report. The combined fleet has grown to 300 vessels. Each incorporates human defensive technology with their species' unique capabilities. It hadn't been easy transition. Many species still feared humanity's capacity for destruction. But fear had gradually transformed into respect as humans shared their defensive technologies freely, keeping only the most dangerous weapons under their control. Captain James, the Zorax representative, spoke. Its crystalline form, now showing patterns of trust rather than suspicion. There's been another request for human military advisors from the Outer Rim colonies. James nodded. We'll send a team. Standard protocol. Teach defense, not aggression. This had become humanity's new role. They were the galaxy's military advisors, sharing thousands of years of warfare knowledge to help peaceful species protect themselves. Sun Tzu's Art of War had been translated into 43 languages and became required reading at the new Galactic Defense Academy. Lieutenant Smith entered the council chamber with an urgent expression. "Captain, we're detecting an unknown signal from beyond the galactic edge." The council tensed. James moved to the communication station, analyzing the data. After a moment, he relaxed slightly. "It's not the Devourers. This is ... different. It's a greeting protocol." On the main screen, a new form of life appeared. Beings of pure energy, beautiful and ancient. They spoke in harmonious frequencies that the universal translator struggled to process. "We are the Eternals." They finally managed to communicate. "We have watched your galaxy for eons. We saw your battle with the Devourers, witnessed the humans' intervention. Why reveal yourselves now?" James asked. "Because something has changed. For millions of years, younger species either destroyed themselves or were consumed by predators, like the Devourers. But you," the being seemed to focus on James, "you broke the pattern. A violent species choosing protection over conquest. It gives us hope." The Eternal continued. "We offer an exchange. Our knowledge of the universe for your promise. Use your strength to protect those who cannot protect themselves." James looked around the council chamber, seeing nods from every representative. "We accept." What followed was a golden age of expansion and discovery. The Eternals shared technologies that seemed like magic, healing devices that could cure any disease, energy sources that never depleted, techniques for terraforming dead worlds into paradises. But more importantly, humanity's example had changed the fundamental philosophy of the galaxy. Strength was no longer feared, but respected when used correctly. The Galactic Defense Academy grew, with humans teaching not just tactics but ethics. When to fight, when to show mercy. How to win without destroying. The Prometheus became the flagship of a new class of vessels, guardian ships. Each major species contributed to their construction, combining humanity's weapons technology with their own innovations. But control remained shared, requiring agreement from multiple species to activate the most dangerous weapons. Captain James often stood on the observation deck of the new Earth station, watching ships from 100 worlds come and go in peace. Admiral Roberts, now retired, joined him one day. "Did you ever think we'd see this?" Roberts asked. "Humans leading a galactic alliance?" "Not leading," James corrected. "Protecting. There's a difference. The other species look up to you, you know. You've become a symbol." James shook his head. "I'm just a soldier who answered a distress call. Any human would have done the same." "That's exactly the point," Roberts smiled. "We spent so long trying to prove we were peaceful, hiding our strength. But our true nature isn't peaceful or violent. It's protective. We're the species that runs toward danger when others need help." A new alert came through, a minor species requesting aid against pirates. James smiled and headed to the Prometheus. This was humanity's purpose now. Not conquerors, not rulers, but guardians. As the Prometheus departed, its mission board showed 17 active protection missions across the galaxy. Each one a testament to humanity's new role. The monsters who chose to be heroes, the warriors who chose to be shields. The galaxy was vast and full of dangers. But now it had protectors. And when the next threat came, whether Devourers or something worse, humanity would be ready. They always were. Asterisk.